This year we've been celebrating 120 years of St Wilfrid's Church since it was built in 1905. And in the process of talking about this with the City of Culture, we came across a story about Maurice Chalcraft, one of our previous congregation members, who sadly passed away in 2003, but that he'd been a real maker here at St Wilfrid's and had created numerous trinkets around the church, including the model of the organ, the full-scale model of the church that we have downstairs, but also this Christmas star which used to get hung every nativity time. And it was the idea of recreating this star, which sadly had been lost, that really lit the idea of doing something creative with the City of Culture.
Describing your granddad, what are the first thoughts that come to your mind when you think of your granddad?
Eccentric, kind, very generous.
Very generous.
He never left his house without something in your pocket, did you?
Yeah, it's true. Me and Lil Regular. I don't know, it was just Grandad.
Yeah.
It was just Grandad, just always there, always looked after us.
Well, he used to climb up the ladders that we've got to fix the lights that you can see are quite high up there, and he'd go with one bulb in his pocket and then the broken one in the other pocket.
Ones in one pocket and live ones in the other.
And yet when we got the same ladders out a couple of weeks ago to fix a few of the bulbs that had gone, suddenly everyone was descending and went, oh, health and safety, you can't do this, you can't go up that ladder.
Health and safety, you see, wasn't as proactive 30 years ago, 40 years ago. It wasn't quite like you could still climb trees back then.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But Maurice was in that. He didn't do anything dangerous.
Yeah.
The star never fell down.
Yeah.
And it worked every year.
Yeah.
He was brilliant.
He didn't make it for here.
Okay.
He made it for North Eastern Gas Board on Mill Street. And I was there when the admin manager there, Johnny Holroyd, said to him, you can't put that up there. It'll drop down on somebody. And remember, he made it for there. But of his own volition, he probably wouldn't have asked. Maurice wouldn't ask.
Yeah.
He'd just get on with it.
Yeah.
So he made it for there, and the admin manager said, no way. And the next I saw was there at Christmas. It appeared here, and I said to him, I've seen that before. And he said, aye, it's here now.
Where it
But he probably didn't ask approval, I don't know.
One of the wardens had decided to take the star down after the Christmas period. And this job was always a two-person job, but this person had decided they can do it on their own. So took it upon themselves to take the star down, but lost their balance, lost their grip on one of the pulleys, and the star came smashing down to the stone floor and, being made of plexiglass, smashed into multiple smithereens.
A number of us were really, really saddened by the fact that no longer would this tradition in St Wilfrid's be there. So I'm delighted that people from the City of Culture have taken up the cudgel and are encouraging us to rewrite the story and to make one or two additional enhancements, if you like.
So the first week that we did it, we did some designing of the stars. We shared information about the stars from the older congregation, and it was very fun. Then the second week we looked at patterns around the church, and I thought that was a good opportunity to see what types of patterns that we can find.
For me, when I walked in immediately, it was a really sunny day the first time. I always look to the top of the glass and kind of you know, the circle,
Yeah.
and then you've got that four-pointed star. I always see the arches, and that reminds me of different types of architecture.
We came into the congregation knowing we wanted to recreate the star, but we didn't know if we were going to do it exactly the same, because we didn't have any pictures at the beginning of the original star. We were going off memory, and so we run some workshops and everyone drew the star from their memory, and they were all slightly different. We decided between us all that the star would be still a star, but it'll be an updated version. And the congregation agreed that he would love that, moving on with the times, laser cutting, and he would have loved all this stuff, so they were happy that it was going to be adapted.
Perhaps the only thing that's similar is that they're both stars and they hang and they have the same kind of spirit in them, but the new star is 8-sided, whereas I think the old star was like, now we found out, 32-sided. And the biggest sort of difference is probably that the new star now has colour. And I think between both of our works with Tasha and I, like, colour is a big part of our practice, and sort of bringing that into the project as artists was quite important for us.
So we just took different elements from each one and then put them all together to see how it looked.
Do we have thoughts? Do we have feedback? Which one do we like?
I like them both.
We like them both, great.
Back probably just over a decade ago, there was a real risk that the church would go dark because the number of the congregation had dwindled to 12 or 13 congregants every Sunday, that the church hall might get knocked down and a new road be built through where the church hall was to ease some of the traffic congestion around the local area. So it was a real risk of being lost.
I remember very clearly when I first came to Bradford as bishop 11 years ago, this church was in a bit of a difficult place. And I don't think any of us would have guessed that 11 years later we would have had a kind of service like we had today. So today we're celebrating that anniversary, that 120th anniversary, but we're celebrating it with an extraordinary new life here.
In history, you don't often find local people kind of celebrated in the same way as maybe prime ministers or presidents, but they're just as important. And if we don't remember them, we kind of risk losing where we come from and that local heritage that makes that building special. It's what happens when an ordinary person makes extraordinary things. It took one person to have this amazing idea. He then drew the plans to it, made it, brought it into the church at some point without no one realizing, and put it up for everyone. And cut to like 2025, it's taken a team of riggers and fabricators and artists and so many members of the community. It really is an effort of the people to remember him.
So when we originally heard about the project and we heard about Maurice, and when we were building the star in the workshop, we talked about him quite often and thinking about how he would think of the processes that we've used to recreate the star and the 3D printing. So he's kind of been there with us really in the workshop throughout the whole process. It feels really lovely to see the star in place, and it feels really special to know that this star will keep reappearing every year into the future.
So we got a photo of Maurice, we put it up on Facebook. I put a little bit of blurb to say we're looking for any existing relatives. And within 2 hours of it being posted, the eldest granddaughter, Sally, got in touch and said, yes, I'm still quite local to the area. We're still within, spitting distance of the church. It would be lovely for us to get involved. And only a couple of days later, brought us this photo of the original star that no one else had been able to find, along with all the plans and all the handwritten notes from Maurice, which Hilary had been keeping safely in the top of a drawer at their home.
We lost his mum on Boxing Day 2022, and she was Maurice's only daughter, and she'd have been absolutely made up with this. The fact that, you know, over 20 odd years later, he's still highly thought of, you know, and it's quite touching for us all, you know, and it's a lovely, lovely thing, you know, memory that will keep going for years to come, you know, it's lovely.
I think I've found Maurice really inspiring in my own art practice when we've heard the stories from his family and using what you've got, so anything recycled, making it into something that the time spent making it or building it together is creating a memory that, you know, it's more precious than anything.
It's a long time he's been gone now, but it doesn't feel like that because we see him every day we come through church.
I feel like I've met him. It's a really silly thing to say, but when you feel so immersed in a person's life for like 4 or 5 months, as we have, and we've heard so many stories from people who've known him, his grandkids, even people from the congregation who grew up with the star, you suddenly just feel like you've somehow met this person that you've never met.
The church is not just the building, it's the people. It would be wrong of us here in 2025 to forget that 120 years of our predecessors who've inhabited this beautiful space before us. Maurice being one case in hand, who gave so much to maintaining and keeping this building alive, just as I'll hope that my daughter will keep this building alive beyond me. So it's really important to remember those who've come before us and remember those who will come after us.
Well, it's something that, well, for us, when we see it, it's granddad, you know, for us, and a part of my mum as well.